The best of money matters. Right Business.
Welcome to The Right Business, where we dive deep into the stories of trailblazers who dare to disrupt the status quo, find the gap in the market to find the right business. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. Salary transparency has long been considered a taboo topic, especially across many parts of Asia, where conversations around money are often kept private, even among close friends and colleagues. But in recent years, that silence has started to break, thanks in part to bold initiatives that are pushing for openness and fairness in the workplace. One of the most impactful of this is MalaysianPAYGAP, the region's first salary transparency platform founded in 2022. Now, what started as a viral Instagram page inviting Malaysians to anonymously share their salaries and career stories has now evolved into PAYGAP Asia, a digital platform built to challenge long-standing taboos and empower people across industries to know their worth. And to share more about how PAYGAP is transforming the conversation around salaries across Asia, joining me today is Prestine Davekhaw, who is the founder of PAYGAP. Hi, Prestine. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right, Prestine, let's rewind a little and talk about the early days of PAYGAP. I mean, you first started this as an Instagram page back in 2022, and it went viral in just 3 days. What was happening in your life or in Malaysia at the time that inspired you to launch MalaysianPAYGAP?
At that time, I was actually a photographer. It's been 6 years of me being a photographer in Malaysia and also Greater Asia. I always curious about what other people are charging, but there's no proper benchmark. I remember asking around, and I got really vague answer, like depends on the client or just charge whatever you feel. So I thought that we're just giving clients a lot of power, and if photographers are not unionized, then that would be a problem. So I just thought that maybe we can use social media to crowdsource salary data. I launched MalaysianPAYGAP instead of focusing on the creative industry because I'm just hoping that that would soften, the barrier for photographers to submit their rates. But then within 3 days, it just blew up and it attracted so many people across industries.
I mean, a lot of people, including myself, are curious. Why focus on salary transparency? I mean, why do we need to be transparent about our salary? I mean, it's a quite sensitive topic, especially in Asian cultures, right?
Definitely. I think it's sensitive because we attach how much we earn to our self-worth. But I find that salary data or money is a very neutral, hard factor. Like, we want money, but then why is it that in Asian culture, we are always taught to stay quiet about money? And when we are so silent about it, it actually would contribute to inequality without us even knowing it. And if we don't know what other people are earning, it's also really hard for us to advocate for ourselves and even know what is fair. So personally, I find that this mission is more than just a number. It's more about giving everybody the dignity that they deserve and also self-respect, and then everybody should deserve to have a chance to have informed decisions.
So after launching on Instagram, you and your team decided to scale into a full-fledged digital platform with PAYGAP Asia. I mean, what made you decide to move beyond social media and build a proper digital platform?
I actually never imagined that I would build a digital platform because when Instagram gave us virality, we built a pretty strong community. And then I use Google Data Studio to collect everything. But it's not very user-friendly. And when you build a community, you are so connected with everybody that you want them to have good experience everywhere. So that's when I start to think about what else can we do. And around that time, I was joining, was it Tech in Asia in Singapore? They have a boot camp in collaboration with my startup in Malaysia. So I joined that. And then on the final pitch day, there was some investor in the scene, and then one of them got really interested and gave us the first money to bring the product to market.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. So how did you approach verifying salary information, and how do you ensure that the data you provide is accurate and reflective of real industry standards?
I think this one is when I share the answer, I think many people won't believe us. So we actually asked people to submit their payslip to us.
Oh.
And yeah, we had started this since early days while we were just running on Instagram. I think at that time, we posted some pretty high-paying job, and then a lot of people don't believe that it's real. And we go back to those people and say, do you mind if you just share with the payslip, and then you can just hide all of your private information. We just want to verify it. And then it sort of became a thing, like people won't hesitate to just share with us their payslip. So we just
really?
bring this culture back into the website.
Oh, that's very interesting. I mean, then in your experience, what makes salary data in Asia different from, say, salary platforms we see in other regions?
I think for salary platform, so far in our experience, I find that the salary landscape is very fragmented because people here, they don't just have one job. They have so many side gigs, they have contract work, they have informal income, and everybody negotiates very differently. So we have to add a lot of components to it. But then when we display salary in annual term, a lot of people here, they don't get the idea. But for US or Europe, it could be very standardized to just levels and also your annual total compensation package. A lot of nuance that we have to care about in Malaysia or in Asia in general. Eventually, we'll have to go into maybe racial pay gap, and that would even be more complicated.
Definitely. I mean, there are so many pay discrepancies that are happening that we also don't really know about. But could you share more about what PAYGAP Asia does then, and what makes your platform different from other salary comparison websites out there?
Well, I think we're slowly evolving into a salary comparison website. What is special about us is that we are actually currently building user insights. So eventually users can track down, like they have real data insights about their salary growth, their progression, and whether they are ready to actually negotiate for a better place. I think this kind of personal data is lacking in the market at the moment.
Okay. And we read that you describe PAYGAP as offering warm data rather than cold data. Can you explain what that means?
I think cold data is just numbers. This is what you can read on Glassdoor. Like this job role of this years of experience, you'll get this much. But our focus would be the warm data part, which is story. We not only want to know how much you are making, but we also want to know how do you feel about the job and what does it take for you to actually improve from point A to point B. And I think because of this emotional combination, people in Malaysia really support us.
So why should someone choose to share their salary story on PAYGAP instead of keeping it private or using other salary sites beyond just the focus on Asia? I mean, how is PAYGAP's approach to salary transparency truly different or better than other players in the market?
I think the first one would be we're very hyper-localized. I think when Malaysians are going to different websites to look for salary, they couldn't reach enough data. So that's the first one. And then second one, I also find that salary transparency as a movement would work really well in society where people are very aware of social injustice and they feel like they have the agency to change the system. Yeah, we are naming ourselves PAYGAP Asia because we're eyeing different countries that would share this commonality. I think one would be Thailand, India, or even Indonesia.
So what has been the feedback so far from users who use your platform?
So many. I think that is actually what keeps us going. We just usually receive DMs or emails or even meeting people in person. They would say that because they read a particular story, they are motivated to ask for better pay for themselves, or some people will feel like they are less alone in their situation and then they could have like more positive emotional outlook on their career. But the pay increase, that has been quite consistent. But we also got the other side of backlash because sometimes when they just take one post and go to talk to their employers, the employers wouldn't like it. Yeah, they just think this is just one example. But if the people do not have that data literacy to understand that we actually need to compile a lot for this data to be very convincing.
Do you think people who, let's say, are trying to negotiate their pay will kind of bring up PAYGAP Asia during their negotiations?
Yeah, it's been the case.
Oh, really?
I've heard from bosses who don't like it, and also the users who really trust the data to apply it.
Right. I mean, we're all looking for negotiating fair salaries, and salaries really do define how much we're worth, right, at the end of the day, even if we don't like that. But anyways, looking ahead, Prestine, what's next for PAYGAP? Are there any new features or new markets you're exploring?
Definitely. We're hoping to launch a live benchmarking tool so company can just subscribe to it. They can do instant benchmarking when they are hiring. And also for our users would be offer letter comparison and hyper-personalized career insights. Our roadmap would really looking forward to expand to the greater Asia market. But right now our team is really small, so we really need to focus on monetizing and also figure out the product market fit before we can even think about expansion.
Well, thank you so much, Prestine, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Prestine Davekhaw, who is the founder of PAYGAP. This has been The Right Business with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.